Hey everybody, this is Matt here at Curious Collections. Came in today and wanted to dig through the used items and just see what all was here. I know if you guys come in, there's a lot of used product in here, and a lot of people go to the newer used over in the front corner. But there's some amazing stuff here in the regular stock used if you just take some time and dig. So I dug around for about 25 minutes and just pulled a few things out. I've got like 3 stacks of things I'm going to go through. I'm going to start though with some more classic rock 60s and 70s stuff because there's some really good things in there that you may not have really stopped and looked at yet. So let's go through a few. Nilsson Smilson, Harry Nilsson. This is a fantastic record. Without You is huge. Coconut is on here. This one is one that is really worth listening to. There's a lot of stuff like Beck now. And even some things, kind of that psychedelic, and not really a Tame Impala, kind of like King Gizzard maybe even, comes from some of this. I know that sounds really weird, but if you try this, I guarantee you'll hear some of that, especially the Beck reference. Paul McCartney's first record, McCartney. This was recorded just by him after the Beatles broke up. It's basically just him and harmonies from Linda, and it's a really good record. There's a few copies of this here actually. This just came in, Doors Weird Scenes, Inside the Gold Mine, which was put out after Jim died. It's kind of like a 2LP greatest hits. There's some really good stuff on here, and you don't see this one come through very much anymore because there are some other greatest hits that have come out since then. Jeff Beck, Wired, great guitar player. This is after he dropped. Rod Stewart left as vocalist, and it's just kind of him. So this one is worth checking out. It's great guitar work. Here we go, Texas, Jerry Jeff Walker. It's really hard to be in Texas and not have heard a little Jerry Jeff Walker at some point. Gary P. Nunn's on here. This is recorded live in Luckenbach, Viva Terlingua. So this is an awesome record and a very Texas record. Staying in the kind of country folk, we have Bob Dylan, Nashville Skyline. This one's a weird one. If you have not heard this, the first song is with Johnny Cash. And then for the rest of the record, he sings in a very not Bob Dylan sounding voice, which is very weird at first. And actually kind of when you get into it, you're like, wow, that's a really good voice. Then you go listen to other Bob Dylan and realize that sometimes he sounds like Bob Dylan. So this one is him doing country and is a really good record. There are 2 copies of this back here in the used also, which is pretty cool. This is huge. Just got in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last year. Carole King, Tapestry. This was a massive record, probably one of the biggest records of the 70s. I Feel the Earth Move, It's Too Late, You've Got a Friend, Will You Love Me Tomorrow. This is You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman's on here. This was a huge record. I think there are 2 copies of this here used also. One of my favorite records, this one's one you kind of have to get into, Slade. The record's called Slade, S-L-A-Y-E-D. They were S-L-A-D-E. Most of you have probably heard Slade more through the Quiet Riot covers of their songs. So if you have not, this is a really good record. This has the original version of Mama We're All Crazy Now on here, which Quiet Riot did on their second major label record once they were already kind of huge. Condition Critical. Sorry, froze on that one for a second. So Slade is here. It's a great record. Ricky Lee Jones. This has Chuck E's In Love in it. This is a very big late 70s record, again, 78. This one's pretty huge. Singer-songwriter. Last Chance Texaco is on here. It's a really good record. I think there are 3 copies of this here in the used, so this is worth picking up. Rod Stewart. I know most of us, especially me, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and Rod Stewart was disco Rod Stewart and was horrible, and I did not enjoy him at all. But later on, if you go back and you hear him with Jeff Beck, you listen to his early stuff, or the Faces, I mean, it is like Black Crowes, rock and roll, folk. It is very different, and it took me a long time to understand and like this Rod Stewart. Maggie May is on here, so that's huge. Got quite a few other Rod Stewart records over there, and I think there were 2 copies of this also. And my last one for the classic rock is Uriah Heep. This is Demons and Wizards. This is super kind of proggy 70s. You just have to hear it. This was in my dad's record collection, so the song Rainbow Demon has been stuck in my head since probably like 1977. and some days I wish it would leave, but it's still stuck in there. So this is a good one too. There are 2 copies of this over there and a bunch of other Uriah Heep records. And around me we've got Fleetwood Mac, Elton John, Peter Frampton. There's so much other great used stuff just sitting. Boz Scaggs' greatest hits. Just great stuff, and it's just sitting right over here in all these shelves, waiting for you to come around and dig, and it's all inexpensive and all worth your time, and definitely you should swing by and check all this stuff out. All right, be back in just a minute with some more.